All right, welcome back to Politically Homeless. I'm Dave, and I'm still politically homeless. I'm getting more and more politically homeless as we get closer to this election, which, by all appearances, right now, it looks like it's going to be a rematch between two really old guys, Donald Trump and Joe Robinette Biden. Donald J. Trump. Yeah. So that's exciting, right? Gee, everyone's really looking forward to that. Despite what grifters would tell you about the whole Trump situation, this isn't the Donald Trump of 2016. It's not. In fact, some of his rallies, there have been several cognitive gaps. And of course, Team Trump, and rightfully so, is quick to jump on all of the Joe Biden gaffes, which there are more of them for sure. Biden is certainly worse than Trump when it comes to the gaffe, but you're going to be voting for a guy who I believe will turn 79 the year he's sworn into office if he were to win. So you're trading, and that was I think the same age Biden was when he won, right? He turned 80 and people freaked out, and when's he going to be 81? It seems like he's been 80 for a long time. But anyway, I guess when you're that age, you tend to not care anymore. And I understand that. As I get older, I don't want to know what the next number is. But for Americans who are trying to figure this out, it would be good to have somebody say, I would say under 60. Can we go under 60? Maybe under 70? It'd be nice to get somebody under 60 elected president. Now, I have a lot to say, though, about the peace movement, about the grifting when it comes to, either supporting what Israel is doing or supporting what Palestine, Hamas, basically is doing, and then relating that to what happened with Russia and Ukraine. There's a lot of hypocrisy. There is a lot of hypocrisy from people who I looked up to as commentators, people like Jimmy Dore, a gentleman who used to make regular visits here, who I think is very intelligent, much smarter than I am. But it's strange. It's strange seeing what's happening right now. And I think I'm going to try to put everybody in their place. All right. And I don't purport to be smarter than everybody. In fact, I'm learning on the fly. In a lot of cases, I do this other channel where I talk predominantly about music. So I come over here and I do the political thing, and I do it mainly because I need to vent. All right. This isn't going to be a fancy production here. This is just me off the cuff making statements. So let's go back to Russia, Ukraine, shall we? So for months, I was saying, look, this is why Russia had to invade Ukraine. Russia didn't have to invade Ukraine. All right. They didn't have to. There was no reason for them to. They weren't under attack by Ukraine. All right. Nobody from Ukraine was firing missiles every 5 seconds into Russia. All right. Now, again, you could say, well, they were hurting citizens who were Russians. Look, this has been a regional conflict for hundreds of years. So our involvement, the United States getting involved, is stupid. It's ridiculous, but it follows the usual pattern of intervention in everything, and it's a boon to the military-industrial complex. It lines the pockets of people like Northrop Grumman or Raytheon. Pretty simple, right? But when everybody said, oh, Russia was justified, they weren't justified. They weren't shot at. There are ethnic Russians in the eastern portion of the territory, and those people obviously have been under attack. Now, what you could do is have governments around the world say, hey, knock that off. You could do that. You could say, don't do that anymore, or we're going to sanction the crap out of you, and we're going to bankrupt your economy. All right? You could do something like that rather than blowing crap up and killing people. You could try that first. You could try diplomacy. You could say, you know what? Stop shooting missiles over into the eastern part of this country. And yes, there is this group. This is very ironic because now you've got the Azov battalion, we'll call them that, who looks up to literal Nazis. And then you've got Hamas, right? We're going to get to Hamas and how there's a lot of hypocrisy and blind thinking, blind spots. People like Jimmy Dore talking about this stuff. And I like Jimmy. I don't align with him politically, but I like him because he's great when it comes to COVID, although it took him a while, took him a lot longer to see the COVID problems than some of the other people out here who were sounding the alarm. He was very slow and cautious to bring that to light. Now he's, fully converted on that stuff. Great. Welcome to the party, pal. Here's the contradiction, though, and it's a big contradiction. So you've got these commentators on the alt-right, we'll call it, although that's not really a term people use anymore. And then you've got these commentators on the left who are all quick to point out that there are Nazis in Ukraine. They're everywhere. And yeah, correct. Okay. And these people apparently, they want to go to war and kill Russians. And that's bad. And probably kill a lot of other people. They probably want to kill a lot of Christians. They probably want to kill Jews on top of it, which is kind of weird, but it's not weird. Okay, Nazis typically want to kill Jews. All right. So then you get over to the Hamas situation, right? Israel did not attack Hamas. Now, okay, here it come, everybody. But, they're running an open air prison and they're mistreating these people. And look, they gave these people money to spend. And what did they do with the money? They built underground tunnels and stuff. They fortified their plan to make everything look as though they're the victim, okay? Now, and then I've got people telling me it didn't really happen, just like the Holocaust didn't happen, just like 9/11 was an illusion. This is all propaganda from Israel. Now, I'm not excusing Israel. This is what's called a balanced approach, not tribal, okay? Other channels, you're going to see the tribe all line up and say, it's the Jews, we need to get rid of the Jews. And I'm like, wow, dude, that sounds a lot like the Holocaust to me. How did we get to that point where we're going to actually say that out loud, but people are starting to say it out loud? And you got these protests all over the country. By the way, here's something to think of for you people who think it's the Jews who probably don't align with BLM. Right? What did BLM do the day this happened? They had the hang glider guy who flew in to Israel. They pictured that and they said, we stand with Palestine. You got people saying from the river to the sea, which is basically just saying, get rid of the Jews. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry. As much as Israel is to blame for bad geopolitics and for not treating their neighbor well, or all the different reasons we can go into here, there are definitely some holes in the story that it's all the fault of the Jews in Israel. There's some big holes there, okay? Hamas is much like Azov, okay? Pretty similar ideology. So why is one group over here in Ukraine a big problem, whereas the other group who chopped off heads and burnt bodies? And then I've got commentators, one of which I used to have on this show, say that didn't really happen, or there's no hard evidence that happened. Okay, all right. So it didn't happen. Although, because you can't, right, and I get this, you can't trust the United States government for validating what Israel told them. These pictures could be doctored. It could be AI. There was some music festival, okay, and there was a slaughter. There was a mass slaughter. Apparently, 1,400 people, right? And in proportion to what happened to the United States on 9/11, that was more people per capita, or however they're measuring this, compared to how many people died on 9/11, which was around 3,000. That's almost half of what America, who we lost on 9/11. That's a lot of people for a country the size of New Jersey. Okay. So again, I'm not excusing Israel, right? Here's where my problem is with Israel. Okay. And you could say it's years and they're occupiers. This is the other one. They're occupiers. Actually, if you go back thousands of years, if you want to play this game of the indigenous people of the land, there are artifacts like 5,000 years old that they find. The archaeological dig, every time they do it, they validate, okay, the Jews were here like 5,000 years ago. According to the Bible, too, they were there, okay? Now, I know people, oh, crap, stop talking religion. I had one person say, you're poison. Me, I'm poison because I bring up religion. Okay, all right, whatever. The book, whether you agree with the theology in the book has been accurate when it comes to history. It's been very accurate. So anyway, the archaeology, the science, the forensic science validates that the Jews were there like 5,000 years ago. They were driven out, right? And then they came back. All right, so maybe the Native Americans should all come back and just drive all of the European settlers out of the United States. I don't know. I don't know. I think we could probably just live side by side and say this was the way things kind of worked itself out instead of playing this game of 1948, they become occupiers, right? And Palestine was a thing, wasn't a thing. So it's really confusing to me. So the answer, by the way, if you're a Palestinian, is number one, probably try to get rid of Hamas in your midst. But Hamas controls everything. And so when you're talking about this, I'm thinking you've got to be careful not to make Hamas into the rest of what the Palestinians are, because those are two separate entities. And a lot of people, they can't make that distinction, especially people on the like Nikki Haley side of every argument, where we just blow, or Lindsey Graham, who wants to drop nukes on Iran. Okay, so for people who like peace, you have to parse a little bit. You have to say, okay, Hamas bad, Azov bad, Russia bad, Israel bad. Why is Israel bad at this point? Well, here's the deal. No matter how they responded to this, and everybody said, yeah, they can respond. Some people said ceasefire before any real firing happened, and now they're still saying ceasefire. I'm thinking this is like trying to extract cancer from healthy tissue, and you're going to destroy a ton of healthy tissue in the process of extracting the cancer. The question is it worth it? Is it worth it? And I don't think it's worth it. Here's why I don't think it's worth it. Number one, this isn't going away. The cancer will develop somewhere else. People constantly say, well, you're creating more terrorists. You're creating more jihad. You're creating this by doing this. Okay, but what do you do to protect your citizens if a bunch of suicide bombers come flying over your border and kill 1,400 people? What do you do about that? Do you just let it happen? And you go, wow, well, our response is going to be just to turn the other cheek and hope that they don't do it again to us. That's kind of what people are. That's the ultimate. It's kind of like, what can I do to solve the climate crisis? Well, you can just not exist anymore, and that will fix it. Folks, we're going down a road with everything where humanity, because we're so screwed up, that yes, we are the problem, but I'm sorry, I'd like to live my life and I'd like more peace. I would like less war. So Israel, I guess, is supposed to just lay down their arms and say, okay, we're not doing this anymore. It doesn't work. We're creating more terrorists. We can't eliminate Hamas. They're too crafty. They're too creative. This is much like what the United States did in Afghanistan. For 20 years, we couldn't figure this out. Guys in caves were outsmarting our best military, which is crazy to think about, but they actually outlasted us. And we went home. We shouldn't have ever been in Afghanistan. Now, some people will say, well, Israel shouldn't be in Gaza. All right. Well, I'm thinking, Israel, you made your point. Now I think you got to double down on your own security. All of the nation builders will come in and help Gaza rebuild. But I'm thinking Israel's going to keep going. They're going to keep going. Look, the United States, they're the problem in the sense that we'll keep going because we want to support more war. All right. And this is where I get a little black pilled, because obviously Ukraine was just great for the military. By the way, Ukraine is still going. It's not as big. Military experts are saying it's a stalemate, this and that, but Congress is getting ready. They're getting ready to pass, and they're going to give more money to the Ukraine effort than to the Israeli effort. And that's a signal from Biden a little bit. And nobody's going to care. Nobody on the hard left is going to care that Biden is saying, I don't want to give as much money to Israel as Ukraine, because the Ukraine situation, that's worse because of Putin. Now, let me talk about Putin, okay? Putin is still a bad dude. And this is how I know he's a bad dude. Because number one, he meets with Hamas. I'm sorry. You don't meet with Hamas on any conditions at all. There's no preconditions. You're just going to meet with Hamas. Sorry. And wrong answer. Okay. He's aligned himself with China. He's aligned himself with Iran. He's aligned himself with North Korea. All right. As much as I hate George W. Bush, that's the axis of evil. So what are you doing there? That looks a little scary. And again, I want peace. Now, nobody is talking peace. Nobody's talking diplomacy. Putin's not talking about trying to broker a peace agreement. I think he's probably said that Israel should stop shooting. Okay, well, here's the deal. Then if Israel's going to stop, then Russia has to stop too. Right, and because there was no provocation. That's what I would say. I'd say, hey, we'll do a ceasefire. Are you guys going to do one too? I mean, folks, do we want peace? Do we want to be in tribes? Because this is all tribal. Like, it's the Jews' fault. Tribe is a scary tribe. All right, I'm sorry, it's a scary tribe. Because people say things, people list the names of people in different industries. Well, isn't it true, Dave, that the Jews run the world? Oh, man. There are a lot of people that aren't Jews that are running things. There are people, and by the way, are these practicing Jews? They're just secular Jews. They're not even Jews, all right? I mean, Orthodox Jews, are they running the world? No. The people from Israel, are they running? No, they're not. You're talking about Hollywood and just linking up names. You're starting to sound like Kanye West. It's like, shut up. It's dumb. It's just, but people want to, it's like a hobby. They get all this information. They keep sending it out to everybody. Say more proof. The Zionists are taking over the world. You know what the Zionists, some of them want, is for the return of Christ. So this stuff will just stop. Seriously, it'll just stop because Christ will put an end to it, right? But again, if you don't believe in the sky god from outer space that doesn't exist, then you have no hope. You have more war, and you have, your religion is going to be, I'm on Team Hamas or Team Palestine. All right, and by the way, yes, that's a distinction. Hamas and Palestine are two different things. I've said it already. But here's the deal. All right, if you're not recognizing the brutality, the barbarism that took place, because that's next level. That's going medieval on the country, and that's terrorism. That's freaky terrorism. And when you're terrorized, what do? You go avenge. Unfortunately, this is what terrorism is designed to do. It takes that country who was terrorized off their game, and the citizens want justice, and the country has to act because the people say so, or those in power look at the intelligence and go, yeah, we got to go in there and take care of business. Now, the United States, look, do we have any moral standing doing any of this stuff? Not really. No, because we've gone around the world for decades pursuing these interventions, trying to realign the country, remake it in our own image. whether it's Venezuela, whether what we're doing in Syria. And look, all of those things are proxies to, here we go, Russia, Syria, Iran. And it's like, stop, just stop. And you're it's like, you can tell where the world is dividing, right? But it's lining up where you're going to have a superpower over here and us, a fading superpower, definitely a fading superpower. And we're going to pretend that we're still the same. Yeah, we can take anybody, right? No, we can't. China and Russia aligned? Yeah, it is scary. And so you're going to sit here and just send diplomats out there to fix things? We're past it. We're past it. We could have done that. Prior to the world going on fire, we could have, but that we've missed the boat on that. That ship has sailed and it's not coming back to port. And there's no charismatic leader running for election that's going to be able to, Donald Trump can say, if I was still the president, it would have stopped in 5 minutes. Putin would have never done X, Y. It's like, shut up, Donald. Shut up. Maybe, who knows? We don't know because, the ballots were harvested and the election was stolen supposedly. And then I'm tired of politics. I'm tired of it. You know what I want? I want real peace. How do you achieve real peace? Through negotiations, through diplomacy like 20 years ago. These two countries, Israel and Palestine, they need their own land, and there needs to be like a 5,000-foot wall or something between them. Seriously. I mean, walls do work in certain situations. Because obviously these two countries can't coexist. Ukraine and Russia, they're actually a lot alike, Ukraine and Russia. They really are. I mean, the ethnicity of it, the languages, all the things about Ukraine and Russia. If Ukraine wants to bomb its own citizens, right? That's up to them. That's their business. All right. But creating more war, creating a never-ending just funnel of money going to a very corrupt country, which is Ukraine. But Russia is right up there in corruption. And that's what a lot of people, they think Russia's not a bad actor. Russia's a good... No. You can tell by the alliances. Who is aligning with who? You don't negotiate with terrorism. You don't say, hey, terrorism, how are you today? Hey, would you like to be terrorism or would you not like to be terrorism? They're going to continue to be terrorism. They're just going to do it. And you're going to sit there and you're going to talk to them about their next move. Hey, maybe next time you can do a bigger slaughter over there, and that will make it plain that Israel cannot protect itself, and the entire Western world kind of collapses in on itself because I think Israel is a somewhat civilized country. All right. Ayn Rand said that years ago. For you libertarians, she was asked, what do you think about Israel? And she said, well, they're the only one in the region that's civilized. And, they're developing, high tech, and they're doing medicine and all these different things that they pioneered, whereas everybody around them, I don't know, folks. Look, this is just the reality of it. And it's not because they're the Jews, all right? It's a different tribe, and it's a different mentality, and it's not medieval, all right? Now, if you want to try to prop up and bring the third world into the first world, there might be ways to do it, economically speaking. There might be ways to do it. I don't think it's worked, though, because I think it's been tried over and over and over and over again. And here's the bottom line for me, all right? I want peace in the Middle East. Peace means that, eventually there needs to be a ceasefire. And why do I say that? Because you're going to kill a lot of healthy tissue in order to eradicate the cancer. And the healthy tissue doesn't deserve death. It didn't do anything. It didn't do anything wrong. Much like some of the people in Ukraine who just minding their own business, and then here we go, and yeah, I get the dynamic. I've been on this for 2 years when it comes to Ukraine, and I've shifted because I've seen other people saying things that are horrifying to me. They're mortifying. They're excusing certain things, and they're just looking at Israel, right? And they're basically saying Israel needs to just go away. Where are they going to go? Maybe, Putin will give them. I mean, look, the Russian country, the Russian Federation is a very big landmass. It's cold for the most part, but they could accommodate like 6 Israels. All right, if they wanted to build a nice wall, move it all over there. I don't think that's going to happen. Look, I know there's some weird things. Russia was very big in the old days when it came to defeating Nazism, right? And they look at Nazis. It's weird. This is weird because they look at the Nazis in Ukraine and they freak out. But they look at Hamas, which is the same ideology, and they don't freak out. So you tell me what's same with the commentators. Oh yeah, Azov. Look at the logo. It looks like a swastika. Hamas doesn't have the logo, right? Maybe they should adopt the logo because then maybe people will start saying they're bad. Well, they've been provoked. Okay, they've been provoked, just like Hitler was provoked. Folks, this isn't working toward peace. What this is doing is it's denying that a certain ideology is toxin, it's poison, it's some of the worst thinking in history. You can say all religion is bad, and you can, and once you group that in there, yeah, okay, yeah, I can see your point there. It's not for peace and love, it's for slaughtering the infidel. And that's one thing. It's so weird how a lot of people on the left have this blind spot, like, okay, you want peace, but slaughtering the infidel is good. What they end up trying to do with all of this is say, well, it's us. We're the ones creating more of this. No, it's in their book, people. It's in their book. It's you read it and it says this is what you need to do. And they're following it. And people just, well, it's a peaceful, George W. Bush said it was a religion of peace. I don't think it's a religion of peace, folks. And if you're truly concerned about peace and you're being honest and you're libertarian, or you're a little more like, I kind of blame the geopolitics here of what Israel has done over the past how many years, and it's kind of on them to fix this situation, and they're making it worse. Okay, but then you still have this toxic ideology that's out there. And no, it's not dominant throughout the Muslim world, but it is a pretty big subset. It's a scary subset. It's not like, was it Christian nationalism? Oh, I hear about Christian nationalism. What? People that like their country and like Jesus. Oh, God forbid there be a Christian nationalist. Arrgh! What the heck, dudes? You can't even compare the two, but you turn on the television, it's like, the guy who's wearing the patriotic shirt and wearing the Trump hat, and again, I'm not a fan of Trump. I'm not. But that guy is not a danger to the world. He wants his country back. He wants, lower gas prices. He wants low inflation. He wants lower interest rates. He wants safety, security, like the border. If you're into peace, why do you want people coming over the border slaughtering people on their way through? Why do you want like a dangerous, deadly drug, fentanyl, which can kill hundreds of people? That's not even like a drug. It's like sarin gas. Why would you want that? Why would you say, well, we should, I'm into open borders because it's good for the economy. Yeah, it's great, but you still need a process. You need people. Okay, so can we let the people in who aren't trying to kill other human beings? Can we let people in who aren't sex trafficking? Can we do that? Human trafficking. Can we at least screen for that? That's not a big government intrusion. That's called, security. That's in our national security interests. We don't want bad actors, and cartels are bad actors, people. They're bad actors. And they're not hanging out, looking and reading the non-aggression principle. Okay, they're getting the money. That's what they're doing. They're getting paid, and they're doing it again and again and again. And our government says, "Hey, no problem. Check in 2 years with a court." Like I'm going to go to that. And that's another reality for those of you who think that people can just be free and go from one place to another and this and that. You folks, this is your house. Okay, it was our house, the United States. This is your house. You just, someone knocks on the door. Oh yeah, come on in. Who are you? I don't know who you are, but come on in. It's great. It'll be fine. And you find out that you just invited, a terrorist into your house. And then what do? Then you got to defend yourself. Good thing for the Second Amendment. Yeah, it's going to be too late by the time you realize it. Folks, there will be no peace until people decide that peace is better than war. In the United States, this is kind of the overarching principle here. The United States likes war. We enjoy it, apparently. The population at large like it. It gets them motivated for some reason. Nobody runs around yelling and screaming about peace. They did for a few years, but not enough people. Most people, they're taught from a young age, boys especially, but even women now are taught to be aggressive and, to fight and this and that. And I don't think all of it is bad, but it has become part of what we do and who we are. And we're not Switzerland, right? We're not neutral. We don't mind our own business, even though the founding fathers, I think it was on the money at one point, said mind your own business on our currency way back in the old days. Now we're worried about everybody's business. We should not be worried about what's going on between Russia and Ukraine. Let it play itself out. If it's going to end, that's good. It'll end because Ukraine runs out of money probably, and they'll surrender and they'll say, okay. And hopefully Russia won't be doing it again. I don't think they will. But the point is, they invaded Ukraine. I don't think Ukraine is this woe is me. I'm so sad for Churchill there. Vladimir. I'm not sad for Vladimir, okay? He's just a grifter. And then you got Netanyahu, who's been there too long, much like everybody around the world in power. And he's running off the 1995 playbook, and now he's got a reason to do it. You can't deny that he doesn't have a reason to do it. And how do you fix it? Well, you probably do call for a ceasefire, but you don't deny the reality of what Hamas is in the process. You have to find a way to contain and eliminate Hamas without killing thousands of people. That's what your goal should be. And the world should be working together toward that goal. The bright minds, not Joe Biden, not Donald Trump, the bright minds of the world need to get together and say, okay, how do we contain the cancer without killing all the healthy tissue? And how do we move forward? Like, how do we create a peaceful coexistence between these people? And then you have to ask the bigger question, is it possible to even do that? And should we waste all of our time and treasure and talent on this? Should we send men and women to die in this region in order to just sort of put a little Band-Aid on this for a few years before it comes back again? I mean, this cancer is just going to keep coming back. It's an ideology, people. It's, and this little side note here, this kind of bothers me. Jimmy Dore, it's sad to see Tulsi Gabbard. He's talking about Tulsi Gabbard now. It's sad to see her be pro-war. I don't think she's pro-war. I think she went and served her country, and she's still serving, right? And she served after what happened in 9/11. So that bothered her, that she saw what happened. She saw planes flying into buildings, even though now people are denying there were no planes flying into buildings. What are you talking about? What? There was no Holocaust, or the Holocaust wasn't 6 million. It was more like 1 million. Oh, okay, that makes it great then. It was only 1 million instead of 6 million. What are you people doing to the truth? What are you doing to reality? So he's all, it's sad to see Tulsi Gabbard, who, was kind of the lone voice out there talking about, no, because I'm sure Tulsi has done what I've done and said, okay, Russia, Iran, China, Syria, Lebanon. I mean, you put all these things, North Korea, and you're thinking to yourself, crap. Because then you're thinking, damn it, the neocons. They've been talking about this, and you're like, I'm not a warmonger, though. I don't want to believe. Okay, here's the reality, though. If what you believe isn't true, then you're wrong. That's all I can say. If what you believe isn't true, then you are wrong. All right? And nobody, because everyone's so tribal, they're so tribal, they can't get out of their little whatever it is bubble and see that, okay, you know what? Iran isn't a good country. But look at what we've done to Iran over the years. And Biden gave them millions of dollars. What do they do with the money? Well, he took it back. Okay, but then you had the Iran deal. You had this and that. Clearly, and they're a proxy for Hamas. So, and then Russia is a proxy for Iran. So we've got Russia, Iran, Hamas. How does that work? How is that good? How is that good? You think to yourself, crap, are they right about Putin? Is Putin just another, he's just another dictator. He's old KGB, right? He's old KGB, and he's doing the old KGB playbook. And you're like, as a more libertarian, peace-loving kind of thing, you want to just believe, well, it's not Putin, it's Ukraine, and maybe Putin shouldn't have went into. No, Putin shouldn't have gone into Ukraine. That is the peacenik answer. Putin shouldn't have gone into Ukraine. Hamas shouldn't have attacked Israel. The United States shouldn't be running around the world. You want to be consistent, or do you want to make excuses to fit your narrative? Because that's what people are doing. Free Palestine, free Palestine. Well, you could have a free Palestine if some of the people, Talib said some people did some things or something like that, right? If those some people didn't do some things to Israel, you'd have a much better chance at freeing Palestine. Nobody was screaming about freeing Palestine as loudly as they are now before this happened, which is weird, because that's a much better moment to start talking about peace between Israel and Palestine. That would have been a much better moment. But now you've got slaughter. You have slaughter. And so now it's a good time to talk about peace and freeing Palestine, because we had a slaughter. And what's that? To basically say we're going to have more slaughter if you guys don't change, we're going to just do more slaughter. And we're going to say from the river to the sea, from the river to the sea. All right, folks, you may dislike the Jews, you may blame the Jews for everything in the world, but you say that out loud, you're basically saying you just want to wipe a country off the face of the earth. That's what you're saying. Sorry, that's not peace. That's not peace. Well, Dave, Netanyahu is insane. He's crazy. Yes, maybe. I don't know. I don't know the guy. All I know is he's been around too long, and he seems to relish these moments where he can become this, John Wayne type character and gunslinging and shooting and killing, and it's really bad. It's really bad. But what happened there is also really bad. So please, for the love of the truth, you can't have it both ways. You can't say Azov is bad, Hamas is justified. Really? Really? You lost me. Sorry. Neurons aren't working. They're not connecting, people. And they don't usually. So if you're watching this and you've made it through this, I commend you, because I'm going to get like 16 views on this video, probably. Maybe 17. All right? It's a dead channel. They only get views when people come in from the outside and they've not subscribed or they've not watched the content, or maybe they came over from the music channel. I really do want peace, but I'm not ignoring reality. I'm not going to pretend that stuff didn't happen. I'm not going to pretend that there aren't some scary alliances out there that should worry even the most libertarian, peace-loving person out there, like, oh yeah, Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, Syria, Hamas, Lebanon, Hezbollah. What could go wrong? What could go wrong with that? Oh, I don't know, World War III, maybe? And yeah, we're a war-based economy. The United States could end all this. We could, because we could just tell Israel, this is yours. Sorry, this is yours. We want peace, and we want you guys to stop fighting. We want to find a way for people not to die in large numbers in Gaza. Okay, the United States could say that. This is the other side here. In Russia, hey, Ukraine, we tried. We threw a lot of money into this. A lot of our, old technology we gave you didn't work. I think our military knew it wasn't going to work. Russia has at least brought you to a stalemate, whatever that is. I'm thinking Russia is winning, right? We're done. Have good luck. Maybe you can find someone else to help you out. By the way, this is where Trump is probably right. Hey, why should we pay for everything? What is it? And this is, as an American, why should I foot the bill for endless war everywhere around the world? Why should I foot the bill for that? Oh, it's in our own national security. No, it's not. No, it's not. Russia, Ukraine, no. We pump our own oil. We make our own energy. If we did that, no. Who cares about Russia? Who cares about the Middle East? Sorry. From a religious perspective, there are a lot of Christians who care about Jews because of what the Bible says. Oh no, here he goes with his mystical, magical book that isn't real. All right, well, that's what motivates Christians. Now, I wonder, here's a little caveat to this. I wonder, though, if Christians understand that there are Christians in Palestine. I wonder if they know that, all right? There are a few in Palestine, just saying, that aren't part of Hamas, all right? So again, we get to that. Do you try to use the radiation to kill the cancer and kill all the healthy tissue around the cancer? Or do you say, stop, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Build Israel. Call Donald Trump and have him help you build and have Mexico pay for it, which won't happen. Maybe you can have Hamas pay for it, right? Maybe you can have Lebanon pay for it. And I'm just saying, and build like a 1,000-foot wall, right? And just block it out. And then see that, then you can actually see, and Israel stop building settlements. That's stupid. Stop expanding into that area. That's really bad. That's don't do that. Okay? I don't applaud that. That's provocative. But see, there's a difference between provocative, like what Ukraine did in their own country to their own people who are living there. All right? That's provocative to the other country. But it isn't, you're not blowing up anything in that country. You're not killing people in that country. So there is a distinction there. And I don't know. History would tell us that this isn't going to stop. History, if you study history, the conflicts, the Russia-Ukraine conflict, the Israel-Palestine conflict, those aren't going to stop. And there is an ideology, both within Ukraine and within Hamas. It's funny because one is okay apparently, and the other one isn't, because it doesn't suit your narrative. Doesn't make the geopolitics or whatever channel you have or whatever network you're on or whatever indie media, you have to all walk in lockstep. Well, clearly it's the Jews. It's just the Jews. In fact, the Jews are probably in Russia too, or they're in Ukraine. And it's like, huh? Okay. Look, I just want this to stop. And there's no diplomacy. We'll throw that on the fire too. There's no diplomacy. There's no legitimate talk of, say, the end of the United States is kind of hinting that maybe it's the end, although Biden wants more money for Ukraine, like I said, than he does for Israel. So I don't know if the end is near, because it's the war machine. And if we turned off the war machine, turned on the diplomacy machine, and just stayed out of things that don't affect us directly, all right? What does Israel have that we need? I'm just saying this. I'm not trying to be mean, but what do they have that we need? Yes, they're the only first world. I've already made that, statement. But the United States, we're not independent anymore. We are, everyone's afraid of the New World Order and all this and codependency and all that. We don't do stuff for ourselves the way we used to. So we are dependent on a lot of other countries to come up with solutions to our problems, whether it's technology or oil or whatever. It's all like, oh, well, we can't do that anymore. We're playing Nintendo all day. That's what we're doing. So anyway, folks, that's my super long rant. I don't side with either group. For you people like in Jimmy Doreland and the Jews or you people are, it's sad. And the other people who are just like gung ho, Jews can do whatever they want, or Israel can do whatever they want. That's scary too. They're both scary. They're both scary in different ways. And you can't argue Ukraine, and Israel, Hamas in the same fashion and say oppressor. Ukraine's not the oppressor. Russia is probably the oppressor. It's like, shut up. It's just, I know. A lot of this doesn't, just at the end of it, you're just shaking your head going, and again, here's another bottom line. I thought I was done. Infrastructure here in the United States, billions of dollars to Israel, billions of dollars to Ukraine. No infrastructure here. I'm consistent. No, nothing for Biden want to do something for the southern border. What does he want to do? Does he want to build a kiddie pool fence? What does he want to do? I don't know. Is he going to actually stop people from coming into the country, or at least have a screening process or a streamlined process and say, hey, you know what? You caravans, you gotta have turnaround. Sorry. We'll give you some food and some water, whatever, medicine. Turn around. So it's not a humanitarian crisis. Or call Mexico and say, hey, can you guys maybe build? There's a lot of vacant land in Mexico, right? That could accept, and that would be better maybe than bringing them. I don't know, but there are a lot of nefarious people that are allowed just to come in, and that's it. Nobody cares. That they just go off, and then you find out later on that they were, criminals. And Donald Trump, I hate to give Trump credit again. He used to say things like, they're not sending us our best or their best. They're not sending. He was right. They're not. Some of these people, though, are victims of real economic fallout from a global economy that's collapsed. And this is the third world, and these people are looking for a better life. And they'll come here and they'll probably work harder. Some of them, maybe even most of them, will work harder than Americans who are here. But they are the culture shock and the absorbing this culture in these quantities is really tough. Assimilation isn't happening the way it used to happen. So everybody's keeping their stuff. They're not coming to be an American. They're coming to be a hyphenated American, and they don't know that, but that's what's happening. And I think a lot of these people are religious and hardworking and decent, and that's why you need to have a system in place, a screening process. I mean, we screen people all the time for things who live here. Why wouldn't you screen people coming through? I'm not against immigration. I'm not saying pause all immigration. The birth rate in this country is plummeting. It's plummeting. That's a dirty secret that nobody wants to talk about. Gee, I wonder what could be causing that, Dr. Fauci. I wonder what's causing that. All right, so I've vented enough. This was supposed to be kind of this cathartic thing for me, because all I'm going to get on the comments is, you suck, you're an idiot, your mustache isn't trimmed right. What else do I get? Your other channel is stupid and ridiculous. I don't know how your family even loves you. Yada yada yada. Those are the kind of wonderful, happy thoughts I get. And that's a whole other video about what's happening in the culture, whether it's a bot or whether it's human beings who are posting things like that. Just shut up. How's that? Shut up. All right. on that note, on that happy note, I am done for now. But that's everything I've got on Israel and Hamas and Russia, Ukraine, and the presidential election, which looks like a joke. It's all a joke. It's all a black-pilled circus. So enjoy your black-pilled circus, because it's going to be in town for a very long time.